So fights over food. I remember these fights when I was a little kid that my mother was hearing that everything should be low fat and low fat was healthy. Vivian Vance from I Love Lucy came on public television. She took the skin off the chicken and said, this chicken skin is killing us. We need to take the skin off the chicken. So that was my job, to have paper towels, take the skin off the chicken, then we douse it in chemicals and sugar, which was called shake and bake. So the chicken I had was so much less healthy than the beautiful ancestral fat-filled roast chicken with the skin on it of my great-grandparents. And I remember feeling so sad and so broken that I preferred that chicken over the shake and bake chicken. But it wasn't a fair fight either. You know, my mother was a child. She was going to take in this information that the government was giving her. Vivian Vance, I'm sure, is a lovely lady, but she wasn't a scientist. She wasn't a cook. She was a celebrity. Why did we listen to her? Well, it wasn't a fair fight. You get celebrities and all these people that glamorizing, you know. Anyway, Andy Griffith show, he was pitching alphabets. I loved alphabets. They were so much worse than the traditional breakfast of my great-grandmother, which was basically coffee, rye bread, which wasn't an American Twinkie bread, it was a real rye bread with butter, very little sugar, very little, you know, alphabets were dessert. I had dessert for breakfast for 50 years, and I thought it was a health food. And then when I finally had my food awakening and woke up and went, wow, no wonder I'm getting diabetes. This is not healthy. And no one ever apologizes to families for all the pitting the mother against the daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law, you know, fighting over. I would fight with my ex-mother-in-law saying, you need to get the fat. You can't feed my kids fat. You're going to make them fat. And instead, this was terrible advice. This was stupid advice. She was from South America, and she said, I don't understand this saturated fat. You know, you need vitamin D. You need saturated fat to absorb the vitamin D. You need whole milk. And I said, no. The pediatricians say skim milk. And the pediatricians backed me up. My brother and sister got apple juice. That was a terrible idea. Not ancestral, not good. We need saturated fats for our neurons. So now what are the pediatricians back to? Whole milk. You know, a friend said to me, gee, I hope they do studies about what's really the best diet. No, I hope they don't do studies. I don't give a crap what study they do, because I have the pictures of my ancestors, I have their recipes, I have their traditions, and I know how they aged, I know what they look like. That's the best study ever. I have an MD and an MPH, and you can make whatever crap study, whoever funds it, you can prove anything. And it's very cynical and very sad, but the reality that nothing was broken in how my great-grandparents ate, and people were selling us stuff. You know, I was a child taking in these information, and now I'm not a child, and I'm not going to fall for the next iteration, which is bugs for breakfast. You know, now they're trying to sell our children color pictures of eating bugs. Who knows what that'll do to people's bodies in 30 years? I don't know. I don't know of any culture that's eaten cricket flour for 30 years, so I'm not buying that. But young people are impressionable, and young people are being conditioned. My great-grandparents never gave up their butter. They never took the skin off the chicken, but my mom was impressionable, and I was an impressionable child. So now I'm protecting myself. I realize where this information came from, and what information did you take in as a child that you realize is not serving you? Well, I hope you like, comment, subscribe, share. I'm Dr. Sarita. We're cactus living in a rainforest. There's nothing wrong with you. It's what's wrong, what we've been through when we've been through a massive gaslighting around food. Hope to see you in the next video.